Hello everyone. Today we're going to discuss all the possible questions from Macbeth Act 2, Scene 1. Are you ready? Let's begin. The first question. Who is Banquo talking to in the beginning of the scene? A. Lady Macbeth. B. Fleance. C. Servant holding a torch. Or D. King Duncan. So Banquo is talking to his son, Fleance. Yes. If you remember in the beginning of the scene, Banquo is asking Fleance, what time is it? And Fleance says that the moon has set, but he has not heard the clock strike. Yes. Next question. There is husbandry in heaven. Their candles are all out. What does Banquo mean in these lines? A. The heavens are angry and a storm is approaching. B. He feels uneasy that something bad is about to happen. C. Heavens are preparing for a terrible event. Or D. That the heavens are keeping the stars hidden and the sky is dark. So the answer is yes. The answer is D. That the stars are hidden and the sky is pitch dark. That is why they carry a torch with them. And Banquo gives his sword as well as a dagger to Fleance because it is unusually dark that night. What does Banquo tell Fleance about his sleep? So what does Banquo say? Banquo tells Fleance that he is unable to sleep even if sleep weighs on him as heavy as lead. Next question. What does Banquo ask the merciful powers to do? So Banquo asks the merciful powers to help him control the evil or cursed thoughts that have been haunting him and tormenting him when he tries to rest. So he's asking the angels of mercy to control his dreams, which he is unable to control. So he's asking the merciful powers to control his thoughts because that is keeping him awake at night and preventing him from taking rest. So this is an important question. So I hope you remember this answer. Moving to the next question. Why was King Duncan in an unusually good mood? A. He was happy that Macbeth had helped him win the battles. B. He was elated with the banquet and the dishes served. C. He was happy with the hospitality he received, especially by Lady Macbeth. Or D. He was happy to see the castle of Macbeth and to breathe fresh air. So Banquo tells Macbeth that King Duncan was in an unusually good mood. Why? Because C. He was happy with the hospitality he received, especially from Lady Macbeth. What did he gift Macbeth and Lady Macbeth due to their boundless hospitality? So what did King Duncan gift them? A. Great gifts to his officers. B. Diamond for Lady Macbeth. C. A castle in forest. Or D. A new title to Duncan and precious stones for Lady Macbeth. So he gives largesses to his officers. So largesse means gifts. So he gives great gifts to his officers and also diamond for Lady Macbeth. Yes. So option A and option B are the answers. Next. What does Macbeth mean by our will become the servant to defect, which else should free have wrought? So what did Macbeth mean by the following lines? He says, since we were unprepared for the king's visit, we were imperfect hosts. He says we couldn't entertain him as well as we would have wanted to. But if we were prepared, everything would have been better. So he says the following lines to Banquo. Okay, moving to the next one. What did Banquo dream about last night? A. Of the three witches. B. That King Duncan was killed. C. That Macbeth had become the king. Or D. They had new predictions for Banquo. So what did Banquo dream? He dreamt of the three witches. Yes. I hope you're getting the answers right. Let's move to the next question. Macbeth says, I think not of them. So here, them means the witches. Is there irony in this sentence? What is the interpretation of this line? So is there irony? Yes, there is irony in this sentence. So what is the interpretation of this line? A. Macbeth doesn't believe in the witches and their prophecy. B. He's lying. He thinks about their prophecy and takes action accordingly. C. He now no longer thinks about them as he believes the action is in his hands. Or D. Macbeth truly thinks that the witches are misguiding him. So when Macbeth says, I think not of them, what does he mean? He is lying because he thinks about their prophecy and therefore he takes actions accordingly. Next question. Macbeth says, if you cleave to my consent, it shall make dash for you. So if you remember, he tells that to Banquo, saying if you will agree to be with me, follow me and stick with me, then it shall make dash for you. What is it? A. Happiness. B. Counsel. C. Allegiance. Or D. Honor. So it shall make dash for you. What is the answer? It is D. Honor. Next, under what conditions does Banquo agree to stick with Macbeth? So he says that I lose none in seeking to augment it, but still keep my bosom franchised and allegiance clear, if you remember. So what does it mean? Banquo says that I will support you and stick with you under a condition, as long as my conscience is clear and I remain free from blame or reproach. Yes. So these are the two conditions under which he agrees to stick with Macbeth. Next question. What task does Macbeth give his servant after Banquo exits? A. To tell the chamberlains to sleep. B. To guard the castle. C. To tell Lady Macbeth to ring the bell once his drink is ready. Or D. To prepare his drink and make his bed. So what was the task given? The answer is C. To tell Lady Macbeth to ring the bell once his drink was ready. What does Macbeth see before his eyes? A. A dagger. B. The three witches. C. King Duncan's ghost. Or D. A sword with blood on it. Have you locked the answer? Yes, the answer is A. A dagger. It is not a sword. It was a dagger. Next. What does Macbeth see? Elaborate. Again, very, very, very important question. I have just written it in bullet points so that it is easier for you to follow and read. But in the exam, make sure you write it in a paragraph. So the first point is Macbeth sees a dagger before his eyes with the handle aimed towards him. So the handle was pointed towards him. So he sees a dagger in the air. That is the first point. Second, now he is unable to clutch the handle, but he clearly sees the dagger. So he can clearly visualize and see the dagger, but is unable to clutch it as he tries to hold the handle. Third, He questions if it is an hallucination from his fevered brain. So now he is wondering whether if it is an hallucination from the heat oppressed brain. So heat oppressed brain means fevered brain, and whether if it is nothing more than a dagger created by his mind. So that is what he wonders. The next point, the dagger he sees, he says, is as real and as palpable as the dagger that he pulls out. So he pulls out a real dagger and he says that this one seems and feels like it is as real as the one that he is pulling out. Next, he says that either his eyesight is the only sense that is working, or that it is the only one that isn't working right. Next, he sees blood splotches on the dagger and handle that wasn't there before. Seventh point, the dagger is leading him. He says that the dagger is leading him towards a path that he was already going and was planning to use this weapon for the deed. Okay, so if you see here, I have drawn these images. So try to take a mental picture of this, because many a times in the examination, we are able to remember and recall pictures better. So if you see the first point, he sees the dagger with the handle pointed towards him. He tries to hold it and grab it, but he's unable to do so. Then he asks if it's a hallucination of his fevered brain. Then he says that it looks as real and palpable as the one that he's pulling out. So that is this image. Then he asks if his eyesight is the only sense that is working, or if that isn't the one that is working. Then he sees blood splotches on the handle as well as on the dagger. Then he says the dagger is leading him towards a path that he was already going, and he was planning to use such a weapon for the deed. So what was the deed? Killing King Duncan. So try to remember this image so that you can remember all these points, because it is a very important soliloquy of Macbeth. Next, what does Macbeth finally infer as to why he sees the dagger in air? Again, an important point. So what does he finally infer? A, it's the murder that he's about to do that is making him think that he sees one. B, the witches are giving him an indication to go ahead with the deed that he plans. C, he needs to kill Duncan, and the angels and the faithful apparitions support him. Or D, none of the above. So he says that it is the murder that he's thinking about to do is making him think that he sees one. Because if you remember, in the passage it is given there is no such thing. So he's telling the dagger does not exist. It is the bloody business which informs thus to mine eyes. So he's saying it is because of the act that I'm about to do that is making me see it. Moving to the next one. Which literary device is used in the lines, nature seems dead and wicked dreams abuse the curtained sleep? A, metaphor, B, hyperbole, C, alliteration, or D, personification? So the answer is personification. Yes, so it's saying nature is given a trait of a real person, saying it seems dead, and wicked dreams are abusing. So it is personification. Next one. What actions and events does Macbeth say is happening at night? So again, very important part. So please pay attention. So the first one is nature seems dead as half the world is asleep and they are being attacked by nightmares. So he's saying nature seems dead because half the world is sleeping and they are attacked by nightmares. Second, the witches are offering their sacrifices to Hecate, who is the goddess of the underworld and witchcraft. The third point, murder, who is pictured like an old man, is awakened by the howls of the wolf, and murder walks like Tarquin towards his deed, and murder moves quietly like a ghost. So these are the three important points. Why does Macbeth ask the firm and set earth to hear not his steps as to which way they walk? It is because Macbeth fears that the very stones will echo back his steps and break the stillness of that moment. And silence is appropriate for the action that he is about to do. So he's saying that the firm and set earth, please do not hear my steps as to which way they walk, because he fears that they will echo and the silence will be broken, because silence is imperative to the act that he is about to do, which is to kill King Duncan. Next, what does the following lines mean? Words to the heat of deeds, too cold breath gives. So he says that, if you remember towards the end of the passage, Macbeth says that as long as I stay here talking, Duncan lives. So he says, if I continue to talk, speaking cools the heat of my action and it cools my willingness to act. So I should stop talking and proceed and act of what I intend to do. Next, what is the interpretation of the bell? What does it signify? A, that King Duncan is asleep. B, warning not to go ahead with the murder. C, a sign asking him to do the deed. Or D, that it is midnight. So the answer is C, it is a sign asking him to do the deed. So if you remember in the passage, he says, the bell invites me. So inviting him to go do the deed. Why does Macbeth ask Duncan not to hear the bell? A, it is the sound that summons his death that will take him either to heaven or hell. B, it is considered inauspicious. C, it means Duncan is awake. Or D, the bell signifies it's time to die. Why does Macbeth ask Duncan not to hear the bell? Because it is the sound that summons his death that will take him either to heaven or to hell. Thou marshallest me the way that I was going. Who is the thou referred to in these lines? So if you remember, this is mentioned in the soliloquy of Macbeth when he sees the dagger. So thou marshallest me the way that I was going. You are urging me or leading me towards the place that I was already going. So who is thou referred in these lines? A, King Duncan. B, Banquo. C, Lady Macbeth. Or D, none of the above. What is the answer? The answer is D, none of the above. The thou mentioned here is the dagger. So, Macbeth is telling the dagger that you are leading me towards the place that I was already going. And I was planning to use such a weapon. And hence we have completed all the questions. I hope you enjoyed solving these questions. Please subscribe if you haven't so that you don't miss any important videos, and also share this video among your friends. I'm praying for each one of you. God bless and take care of yourself.